One of the things that really surprised me after having spine surgery, I had a microdiscectomy, was not how much it hurt to stand up and get up right after the surgery, but was how terrified I was to actually move. Hi, I'm Lauren Ohayon from Restore Your Core. So my story is that a few years ago, 4 years ago now, I got an adjustment at a chiropractor, and the chiropractor unfortunately literally like broke my back. So ripped a piece, fragmented my disc, and that fragment landed on a nerve. And over the course of several weeks, I could no longer stand straight. So when you're standing straight, um, your knees are not bent and your hips are not bent. But because I had this disc injury, what the presentation was for me was that I could not actually straighten out through my hips. I couldn't extend through my hips. So in order to deal with that, my knees were bent and um, my hips were like this, flexed. And so this is how I walked around for 4 months before I had surgery. So by and large, I was either at home or used a walker or a wheelchair to get around. And it was terrifying and it was awful and just really, really miserable. That's not why we're here today, though, to talk about that. And after 4 months, when I saw that the disc was not resolving itself on its own, because oftentimes it will, I decided to have surgery. And I'll just remember the surgeon came into the room. They wake you up really fast. I was like, can't I just sleep a little bit more? They wake you up really fast and they want you to stand up. And I hadn't stood up in 4 months. And my biggest fear was that the surgery hadn't worked. And so when he asked me to stand up, I went and I went to stand up, and it was amazing. It was amazing that my hips went from this to this. Like, it was just a miracle. So after that initial fear of getting out of bed, the next fear was, well, now my back is less stable because I've had surgery. And what if I do this again, right? I don't want surgery again. I don't want 4 months on the couch again. I don't want any of that again, right? That's scary. So I work with a lot of people like this, afraid of moving after surgery. My own husband just had surgery on his ACL and his meniscus. And yesterday I was like, babe, it's been 2 weeks. You're barely moving. You need to be walking a lot more. And he was like, I'm afraid. And I was like, we're going out to take a walk. And the first few minutes, and he's on crutches and he's got the brace, the whole thing. The first few minutes, he was like, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it hurts. And I was like, I know, because you haven't been using it. He's like, what if it hurts because I'm not supposed to be doing this? I was like, no, you are supposed to be moving. You know that. So move. Let's go. Let's take this walk. And literally like 5 minutes into the walk, he looked at me suddenly and I was like, uh-oh. And he was like, it doesn't hurt. And I was like, good. He was like, wait, where'd it go? I was like, I think like that's normal. Like, that is normal. The pain you felt could have been a myriad of things. It could have been your fear creating a stress tension response. It could have been that your tissues are underused, right? So they're creating a response, right? It could have been any of those things. And now that you're actually moving it and you're not panicking and you're not, obviously he wasn't moving it this much, and you're not freaking out and you're calm and the sun is shining and it's warm and it's beautiful, you're actually like, your nervous system is like, oh, this isn't dangerous. It's okay. And I think that, so in my own journey and body and with my clients, this is what I'm seeing all the time. People have surgery and then they're terrified of moving, which again makes perfect sense. But when you don't move, you create hypervigilance. You train your brain to believe that movement is dangerous. You create a very narrow box that you're willing to operate within, right? So it just becomes this very like, no, that's not safe over there. Now, I'm not talking about running a marathon and there's nothing wrong with running a marathon, by the way. But I'm not talking about training for like the Olympics. I'm talking about getting back to a baseline of movement that is fundamental and foundational. So I knew cognitively, because I've been in the movement world for 25 years, I knew cognitively that I had to get back into movement and a range of movement and lifting weights again and picking up heavy things. But I also knew that I would have to start with the basics and the foundations, right? So I couldn't just go tomorrow and pick up like a barbell, start deadlifting. On the other hand, just walking, like I was walking multiple miles a week. Here's Georgie talking about walking. Just walking was not enough, right? Like too low load. And it again wasn't reinforcing to my body that movement is not scary. The more you show your body that movement is scary, the more movement will hurt. But the more you show your body that movement is not scary, the less your body will hurt and the more will be available to you. Now, I can say hands down that a number of movements, when I first got back into them, even something like a squat, the first few, I would feel tension. The thing is that for a lot of us, when we feel tension, it sets off all sorts of alarm bells. Oh my God, that's not right. That's scary. That's terrifying. That shouldn't be. Squatting is bad for me. Boom, no more squatting. And when you take squatting out of your life, you also get nervous to bend over. You're like, wait, that's bad. So what I knew that squatting wasn't a problem, even if I was feeling tension in it, because again, I'm not holding like a 700-pound barbell. I was holding nothing. So I knew that it was my body, like my husband's body on the walk. It was my body being protective. And I knew that if I woke up the next day and I was like unable to walk, maybe I could look at the movement routine that I was doing. Although generally I would say give a movement routine 2 to 3 weeks before you decide if it's bad for you, even if there's a little bit of pain with it. Because again, pain is not always bad. Pain is your body's alarm alert system. And if every time you listen to pain, you take a movement out of your life, you're going to be actually reinforcing pain, tension cycles. And this is very, very, very well established. You can read books about pain that will corroborate exactly what I'm saying. But what our brain does is, oh, that movement is bad. I shouldn't do it anymore. That's not how it works. So if you have had a surgery or an injury and you're terrified of moving, just know that it's normal. You're not alone. But also know that not moving is way worse for you than moving. What your body is designed to do is move. And movement is exactly how people get pregnant, right? Not all people, but a majority of people get pregnant because of movement. Literally like movement with a partner and movement within your body. Movement is how toxic waste exits your body. Movement is how you digest. Movement is how you can keep drinking water, right? Like movement is blood flow. Movement is circulation. Literally movement is the building block of life. Not moving is the problem. And how you start moving appropriately is a different story. You want to move appropriately with guidance. You want someone to guide you. You want a program. My Restore Your Core program is amazing for that, just putting it out there. But don't let the fear win, because it will. And it will make you tighter and more stressed, and you'll feel like crap, and that will make you more stressed, and that will bring on more pain. So maybe if squatting with a 700-pound barbell is a goal, it's not my goal, but maybe it's yours, then you start with body weight squats, and then you progress very, very slowly and incrementally. It took me like 3 years to do a simple pattern where you pick up a weight and you row. It took me 3 years to work up to my current weight. And so, again, I think that it's not about what movement is bad for me. It's really about how can I introduce movement back into my life in a very safe and appropriate way? And how can I feel confident with all of it? So when I go to the gym or I'm here working out or I'm doing a routine and I feel a pinch in my back or a pain, I generally try to just to like not panic, not freak out, not write a whole story that like I've now damaged my back. I actually just breathe through it and I say, I'm going to do 5 more reps and see if it gets better. Right. So I'm going to just make it smaller, but I'm going to do a few more reps. Oh, there we go. Pain is going away. Pain kind of came in. I looked at it. I observed it. I noticed it. I knew that it was probably just a warning signal. I didn't go down the pain rabbit hole, the fear rabbit hole, and I just moved on from there. And then, like, actually, that movement was great for me, and the pain was just kind of incidental and not consequential. And I think that those are the things that we need to start figuring out as we're healing and recovering from movement and from surgery. I love that my husband goes to PT and I go with him and I get to watch the PT say the same things to him, right? Because we've chosen a PT who's very pain literate. So he doesn't panic when my husband's like, you don't see the PT being like, oh yeah, okay, stop. Nope, nope, bad. That movement is clearly not okay. No, the PT is like, no, you're doing fine. And then it's like, and my husband's like, okay. But then he realizes he is doing fine. And he has said to me so many times, like, I would have otherwise just stopped the movement. But then by rep 8, there was no more pain. I just needed to get through like my body having this like incidental moment with it. I'm not telling you to ignore pain. I'm just sharing. My biggest fear after surgery was movement and like injuring myself again. And these are the things I've learned, and this is the way I've overcome it. And I hope in some way this has been helpful for you.